questioning is everything. If you've ever taken an improv class, there's those exercises where all you're allowed to do is ask a question.
Yeah.
And then there's another one where all you're allowed to do is make a statement. And that's really how we communicate with each other, is through questioning or through statements.
Yeah.
So we have question and answer. Back in the Bible, Sermon on the Mount, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find. So us as human beings, we're not endowed when we start with all of the answers. We have to acquire awareness as we progress through life. And with this habit, the habit of asking questions, you can start to benefit in two major areas. The first area is clarity. And we're all seeking more clarity when we ask question. I think it was Confucius that said, the man that asks a question is a fool for a minute. And the man that doesn't ask the question is a fool for life, because he will go through life never knowing.
Right.
So we have to have the courage to start to ask questions, and high quality questions.
Mm-hmm.
From our questions, we can start getting answers. Therefore, we start getting clarity. So that is one great benefit of this habit. The second is becoming or self-orientating where you are. So when you question, you start to cut into your own paradigm. One of the biggest problems that we have as people is we just assume stuff, right? Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Or you see something.
Well, what's interesting about assumption too is that, we've like achieved a certain level of success. And there was things that we did that brought us to that level of success. So then we tend to lock on to those ideas. And for someone to challenge you and be like, well, you're going to have to maybe stop doing that because it got you to this point. Let's say it got you to like a $500,000 business, but your goal is actually a $10 million business. You're potentially going to have to stop doing that. And I think that's a tough pill to swallow, because I think a lot of times our egos are built on that. Our confidence is built on the way we interact with people or the way we do business. And so for someone to come in and challenge it and be like, you have to start questioning yourself. It could be kind of like, well, screw you, Dave. Like, this is how I've built who I am. Like,
that's right.
Who are you to tell me I question who I am? And so I think it's agitative, but in a good way.
Yeah, because you have to stop the assumptions. I remember a friend of mine said, Dave, the same thing that brought that entrepreneur, that founder to the place that they are is the same thing that will keep them there. So it's like the skill
Keeps
set.
them stuck there.
Yeah, the skill set that you built that first quantum leap on, or that first 30-day year.
Yeah.
If you just stay with that, then it's the same thing that will keep you there. So you have to progress. So one of the greatest questions that I was ever asked was by you. We were out for supper and you asked me the question, what don't you know that's holding you back? And that's a great question, because it's not just our awareness. Our awareness isn't the issue. It's what we don't know. It's our ignorance.
Yeah.
And awareness and ignorance is like if you had like a chart, they're on the same line, right? So
it's a scale.
A scale. So where awareness ends, ignorance begins. And where ignorance ends, awareness begins.
Right.
So they're the polarity of the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And ignorance is just simply not knowing.
Yeah.
So how do we speed up the knowing? How do we speed up our awareness? You do it through questioning.
Yeah, you mentioned that clarity is a gift of questioning, and I do agree. I'd say the two gifts I've received personally from becoming more of a questioning person is deeper awareness, for sure, like you said, but the second is really understanding. Like understanding myself better, understanding a situation better, understanding my patterns better, because something that we can very much unconsciously move through life not knowing are our patterns and our tendencies. We just kind of think, oh, this keeps happening to me, this keeps happening to me. But then I think rarely do we actually stop and be like, why does that keep happening? If I keep, like you said, I could get stuck at a certain level in my business. I just can't break through this 250,000 or 500,000. I just can't break through. What could be happening? It's like, well, it must be you. It must be your thinking.
It's always you.
It's always you. And I think that idea of self-responsibility and accepting that you're the epicenter of your life can be really tough sometimes. Like, oh shit, like all the bad is me and all the good is me. And that can be, again, a little jarring. But it's a really important awareness, and questioning brought that into my life.
I call it the responsibility pill.
Yeah, like
And
it like stabs. It like has little spikes.
it's mine was like about as big as this fist. It was like a giant gobstopper.
Yeah.
Just like it's like it took me
See-
2 years to get through it. It's like
Yeah, mine was like a pill shape with spikes, and it like, oh,
doesn't
that
feel
hurts a
good going
lot.
down.
Like trying to eat like a pine cone or something, you know? Like it hurt a little bit, but it makes sense.
When I started to I started to implement this habit 9 years ago. And when I first started, this was the question that I was repeating over and over because I had emotionally discovered, Earl Nightingale said, you become what you think about. And I've asked like tens of thousands of people that question, who here believes they become what they think about?
Yeah.
And everybody says yes. Like everybody raised their hand. Everyone knows intuitively that their thinking is playing a huge role in their life. So when I started to understand that emotionally, I was like, whoa, I better start getting a hold of this thing called thinking.
Yeah.
So what I started to do was I would ask myself constantly throughout the day, to the best of my ability, does this thought bring me anything I want? Right? Does this mental attitude that I have right now, what's it bringing me?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I follow this thought down to the end of the line, like as if it was a train that was going to a station, it's like, where does this thought end? So it's like, let's say the thought, like, I can't do that, right? It's like, well, if that's the station, if that's the destination, it's like, where does that thought end? I can't do that. It's like, do I want anything to do with that thought? And in that first 90 days that I was doing that, like, I'm just throwing out a number here, I would say I wanted nothing to do with like 90% of my thinking, like nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the 90% of my thinking was bringing me and creating a life that I did not want.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about thinking within itself with people, if you ask someone, don't think like that, or you tell somebody, don't do that, or don't think that, or don't say that, they'll get upset generally.
Yep.
And it's like, well, I have to. Are you sure? You see, I have to feel like this. This is what happened, so I have to do this now. Do you, though? Because if you realize you don't have to do anything, you don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You've been programmed to do something. The reason that you do it is because you assume you have to. But you don't have to do shit. So when you start to ask questions, not only do you get clarity on where you're going, but you actually start to get clarity on where you are.
Yes, makes sense.
And it can disrupt that assumptive habit nature that we all have.
Right, right.
Even setting a goal is a question in itself.
Yeah, like what do you want? Or
what do you want? But no, if you know what you want and you set a goal, that is a question in itself. What's the question? Can I do that?
Yeah.
Am I willing to persist? It's a giant question. Like, so when I see like this idea of like a goal, like here's this idea of a life and a person that I want to live. Like, this is where I want my life to be. I just see a giant question mark. And I hope that this podcast in time, as people start to listen to it more and more, that we help you get to the place that it's not, can you do it? All right. You can do it. You wouldn't desire to do it if you couldn't do it. The question will be, will I do it?
Yeah.
Will I do it?